Hello, 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 and welcome in for those that are catching the replay and for anyone who may be joining at any point in time. There's a lot I want to talk about today, and this is a worthy conversation for all of us, not just me as a woman, not just me as a content creator in the YouTube space or on other social media platforms, um, but all of us, because this particular issue affects more than just me, more than just one area of life. And so, what am I talking about today? As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we're talking about pick me energy. And this is not just applying toward women, it's applying toward men too, for those who may be passing this video, because the truth is, we all find ourselves in some way, shape, or form being subjected to systems that encourage us to do the most. Whether it's at work, whether it's on social media, there is some sort of infrastructure that is disguised often as a reward system. But what it really is something that ultimately detracts from us, from our energy, from our sense of self, from our value. And so today I want to talk about what exactly is pick me energy for those who have heard the term, may not be familiar with it, how it creeps up in not just romantic relationships and experiences, but in other areas of life, how it shows up here on this platform. And I want to pose some introspective questions for what we can do when it comes to changing the experience for us. And then I'm going to end with a spiritually channeled message for those who decide to stay throughout the entire life. I don't know how long or short this is going to be, so bear with me. This is my second live, but I believe that there's something power packed here for you. So, um, for anyone who's familiar with or has been studying YouTube and its features and the platform and content creation and content generation, all of the things that are rolling out that have been changing the algorithm. And again, this is not just native to YouTube. This is all of the algorithmic changes that have happened on other platforms. But the most recent news that we've gotten here on YouTube for us creators is that anyone who was monetized or seeking to be monetized, the requirements in terms of watch hours have now more than doubled, it seems, because a lot of us were still trying to reach that 4,000 watch hours. And now YouTube has come out and said, now you're going to have to start getting to 8,000 watch hours in order to have full monetization on your channel. And while I'm not entirely bothered by it because I believe in other avenues of monetization, it really stuck with me for a moment and with a lot of others. Why is it that we are now being asked to basically slave for visibility, slave for validation, slave for acceptance into the next promotion? And I want to ask you, how often does this happen in your everyday life? If it's not YouTube that you're on, is it the job that you're with? Mhm. Is it the boss who's micromanaging and expecting you to do everything at the moment that they say? It's like the ask with unrealistic expectations. I know we live in an AI generation, but we are still human. And I want to speak that to someone who needs to hear it. You are still human. You are not a robot. I am not a robot. But it seems like the way that we are progressing in this technological age, we are being asked more and more to acclimate to the speed of generation as an AI agent. Nothing wrong with using AI agents, but even then, somebody's got to function them, somebody's got to operate them. And you can't use that in every scenario where a human component is necessary. Sometimes you got to come from behind the screen and let people know, hey, I'm here. I'm a living human breathing, operating the best that I can, right? Nonetheless, it's the feeling. I want to talk about the feeling of the more I chasing the algorithm, chasing the promotion, chasing the client, chasing the metrics, ever changing metrics. Because let's be clear, most of the time things are not static. It's like just when you feel you've gotten to one level of mastery, all of a sudden the game has been changed, right? And if you see me looking here, I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to forget anything. But, and welcome to those who are joining in. It's like the more we perform, the more invisible it feels we are. We're fighting for attention. We're fighting to be seen and recognized in our family dynamics. We're fighting to be seen in our friend circles. We're fighting to be seen for the value that we bring in any given scenario. And I thought, especially with my job as a coach, a relationship coach specifically, the goal that I teach, that I've had to embody myself, is not to audition for love and validation and commitment. And then feeling all of the pressure to basically become this bionic workhorse, pushing out content after video, after post, after carousel, after, like, you name it, across multiple platforms. I started feeling the same way that I used to feel in my terrible relationship days in romance. Why is it that we are oftentimes being asked to subject ourselves to pick me energy, to overperform, to overfunction, to exhaust ourselves for validation at work, on the internet, with the guy, for some of us with the girl, with our parents? Everything is about constantly proving yourself. And what it all boils down to is the ideology that who I am and what I give is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And so I want you in this moment to think, how many areas in your life do you find yourself slipping back into pick me energy? And this is not a degrading, condescending question. This is a real, honest question, because we cannot change what we are unwilling to admit, what we are unwilling to take responsibility for. And as much as that term can be a slander or a slight, it highlights a very real thing that a lot of us have dealt with. If it's not being a pick me in relationships and dating, a lot of us have gathered the idea of, I've got to prove and earn love from our parents when we grew up. So we learned to do that in school. I've got to prove something in the classroom and be a straight A student. Otherwise, my worth and value is not seen. If I'm not the prized child, the prized daughter, or the prized son, I've got to outwork everybody. And then, excuse me, add layers of culture to that, add layers of gender to that. If I'm a woman, I've got to go above and beyond to prove that I can match the accolades that men are getting. Let me get something to drink. If I'm black, if I'm from a certain ethnic sector, now I've got to go above and beyond to prove myself worthy or validated to my non-melanated counterparts who may be doing equal or less than I'm doing, just to prove my worthiness to be here in the room, in the conversation, with the seat at the table. And the reason why this conversation is so important because pick me energy is not just about men. It's not just about dating. It is an over enveloping issue that affects each and every one of us at some point in our lives. And what it really boils down to is scarcity mindset. It's a survival strategy. If I can just do this one more thing, if I can just tweak this over here, if I can just show up one more time, if I can just get there earlier, if I can just stay there late, if I can just do extra things just to prove this one thing, I get to live another day. I get to get one more rung up on the ladder. It's survival. It's not thriving. We can't catch a break. We're barely allowing ourselves to breathe by subjecting ourselves to that type of functioning. Anxiety is through the roof. And we call it being productive when insurmountable pressure is just constantly piling on top of us, trying to measure and keep up. It used to be the statement, keep up with the Joneses. And now it's keep up with the algorithm. Keep up with celebrity culture. Keep up with social media trends. Keep up with everything and everyone that's happening on Facebook. Keep up with the competition, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind. No one is going to care. No one is going to see you. All of this to say, I was watching something recently and I heard Gary V. I'm not exactly sure of his specific title, but I know that he's one of the major internet social media business gurus and icons of today. He said that he posted 347 pieces of content, not in a year, not in a quarter, not in a month, not in a week, but in one day. I'm going to just let that sit and marinate. 347 pieces of content in one day. And his advice to all who were watching, to all who are in the internet space, the entrepreneurial space, getting their businesses out there, is to post more. Post more. Now, someone like Gary Vee has the infrastructure, the money, the team, the systems to afford for his entire kit and caboodle to run, whether he clocks in or not. But for the average person who is out here doing it by themselves, or with a much smaller team, with a much smaller budget or no budget at all, who have extraordinary vision, extraordinary dreams, it can feel insurmountable what we are being asked or expected to do in order to have a chance at visibility, to be seen, in the same light. And that's another thing. It's also, if I don't measure up, I'm somehow lazy. If I'm not pushing out 347 pieces of content in one day, I'm not doing something right. I'm not enough. And what I am here in this video to say is I call bullshit. I call bullshit because I can guarantee you when Gary Vee or anybody else started out, they weren't pushing out 347 pieces of content. This has been a progressive incline of insanity. When the dot-com boom happened, what was it, back in the 90s? Who was pushing out 347 pieces of content? It speaks to the age that we are living in, a microwave age that has more than quadrupled. It started with the microwave, where we didn't have to slave over a stove and cook for hours. And now we can just press a button and boop, within 30 seconds, we can have something to eat. That same process has now multiplied across fields, across productivity systems, across manufacturing lines. And now we as human beings are asked to produce content at the speed of artificial intelligence, which is insane. And I'm here to say, I'm not doing it. Not only can I not do it, but why would I? Why would I encourage myself and other people to literally run themselves into the ground trying to keep up with something that is absolutely ridiculous? Right? And so I think I've gotten a little ahead of myself in my notes. But again, what pick me energy is, it's just saying I'll do whatever gets the click, whatever gets the validation, whatever gets the client, whatever gets me picked, whatever gets me chosen. Because a lot of what we are doing in our relationships, in our careers, in our businesses, etc., we are trying to be validated and wanting to be chosen and selected for that next great plateau. We're wanting to experience the relief of breakthrough. I finally have actualized and gotten what I think I want. I'll overproduce, I'll overexplain, I'll overwork myself, because we have bought into the lie and the deception that I'm not enough. Clearly, everything and everyone seems to be saying, you've got to do more. I've already specified to myself, okay, this is the capacity I have to post in a week, or to do X, Y, and Z, or to give this for a week. And now I'm hearing from all of the internet gurus or the powers out there that be, you can't work a 40-hour work week and survive or thrive. You now need to work 80 hours. You were already struggling with the 40-hour work week. Now, in order to make it in this economy, you're looking at 80 hours. Again, on YouTube, not 4,000 watch hours, 8,000 watch hours. It used to be acceptable to post a couple of times a week. If you were really ambitious, one time a day. And now we're being told, nope. You need to not only post multiple times a day, but you need to repeat that across platforms and aspire to Gary Vee with 347 pieces of content in one day, if you think you're going to make it and break through. It's ridiculous and it's insane. And so what I want to say is that while there are pros to the system and the infrastructures that we are utilizing, because in some instances, how else would we have the opportunity to get our message out there across the globe? So I'm not going to arbitrarily say the systems are evil. However, the people and the motivations behind them, that's a different conversation. Um, when things can be set up as a reward system for content and alleged productivity. But really, I also think with that, the systems are benefiting from us not feeling like we're enough because that makes us enslaved to them. What were to happen if we were all to say, you know what, I'm boycotting social media indefinitely, or I'm boycotting this particular platform until they decide to do right by me? That reminds me of the old movie Color Purple. The character Celie said, everything you got going on is going to go wrong until you do right by me. Because here's the truth. These systems and the people behind them, they're deciding. They're stepping and operating in their sovereignty. They're choosing for whomever decides to go along for the ride. And I am simply here as another voice of reason to say, let us not forget our power and sovereignty that we hold individually. Just because someone says they want you to do something in the dating and relationship world doesn't mean you have to go along with it if it doesn't sit well with you. Just because a job says we need you to do overtime indefinitely, taking you away from your family, taking you away from the things that contribute to your overall well-being, doesn't mean you have to. They are not the only employer out there. Is it time to look elsewhere? Right? And so this thing of I am not enough and the systems benefiting from us feeling that way, it's overarching. It's dating apps, constantly swiping left, right, with an abundance, a plethora to choose from. As much as we love, and this is a side note, as much as we love to talk about abundance and the abundance gospel that we are saturated with, I have to say, and this is per conversations that I've had with women, there is a downside to that. I was chatting with someone the other day and she was saying how much she felt that we are at a disadvantage with social media dating apps in today's world, because the moment that someone feels dissatisfied, there's no longer, I need to invest and spend the time meeting someone in real life. I can just go on any number of dating apps, create a whole new persona, and I've got a world of dating options, women or men at my fingertips, and I can dispose people because of the perceived abundance. And I think that is one of the traps that we fall into when it comes to social media. We fall into the trap of digital abundance, and we have abandoned real life presence and quality for cyber quantity that doesn't often equal the same thing, which is connection, which is ultimately what most of us are searching and seeking for. And so it's the dating apps, it's the internet algorithms, it's corporate leaders and ladders, it's beauty standards, it's productivity culture. We can never do enough, right? Um, Even in the coaching industry, it's the plague of comparison. What is everybody else doing? How can I meet the level that they have over there? Never mind that they're a decade ahead. They've been 10 plus years in the game of whatever industry you're in. And I'm preaching to myself. Everything says do more, be more than yourself, fix more, produce more, optimize more, monetize more. Meanwhile, no one asks this very important question: what if you're already valuable? What if who you are and what you do and the things you bring are already valuable as they are? Because that's the truth we need to start resting in. You intrinsically have enough value and worth, whether you decided to change anything today or tomorrow or not. And I think the paradigm shift, it starts in the mind with that ideology. I am already valuable. We are already valuable. And the moment we allow the systems and the powers that be to try to convince us otherwise, that's when we've lost. It's a game in the mind. It's almost the algorithmic mind. Do I believe the narratives that other people are feeding me, or do I value and trust what I feel and think and say about myself and who I am connecting with? Is what I'm doing enough for me? Are the people that I'm connecting to enough for me in this space and time? That's the question. And I don't have the perfect ending and all of the answers to the questions, but I do want to create some, for those who are interested in doing introspective work around this, journal prompts to help us reflect and to decipher where healthy effort becomes self-abandonment. I'm going to say it again. First question: when does healthy effort, healthy ambition become self-abandonment? Where is the line? Where is the line? Because I think it's important for us to know where that line is so that we aren't involuntarily crossing it or crossing it unaware without the knowledge of what we are actually stepping into and subjecting ourselves to. Second question: where in your life, if you haven't already identified it, where in your life do you feel like you're auditioning? After you've already gotten in the door, do you still feel like you're walking on eggshells, trying to make sure you don't F up, trying to measure up to a level of perfection that is unrealistic? Where in your life is this valid for you? Because it may not be social media and this YouTube space. It may be dating and it may not be. It may be your relationship and it may not be. But there's some area in your life that may be calling you to look a little deeper. What is that for you? What is that for you? And is it what you have said you needed to do? Or is it what somebody else has said you needed to do? Because it's important to be able to discern whose voice is speaking. Who are we listening to? If someone else is telling us this is what we need to do, and we're bypassing our own inner voice, That's red flag number one, and we need to be aware of that. The second thing is if you are telling yourself, I need to do all of this, I need to be a hamster on a wheel. Understand if you've not heard someone else telling you to do that, you need to ask yourself, why do I believe I need to do this? Why am I convincing myself that I've got to exhaust myself trying to prove my worth and my value? Where did I learn this behavior from? And am I now consciously choosing to continue in that same energy? Or would I like to explore another path? If you're still having a hard time determining what area in your life has subjected you to overperforming, overfunctioning, here's another follow up question. Have you ever worked harder only to feel less seen or less appreciated for what you do? When's the most recent time or thought or memory that comes to mind when you felt like that? You went all out of your way to show up for somebody or to show up for a thing, and you didn't receive the return on your investment. Some of us have been investing in relationships, in business projects, in so many different things, in jobs, in departments, in family members. So much of us, excuse me, have been investing so much of our energy, so much of our belief, so much of our resources, so much of our time, and we have not received a return on our investment. Where have you poured in everything that you had in a moment and gotten nothing in return? And there is a difference between volunteering, donating, giving to charity. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you show up in what is supposed to be a reciprocal experience. I provide a service, I get my just pay. I provide feedback, you use that constructively to better the organization. I show up listening to you. I expect you to be open and listen to me when I need an ear. I make myself available and clear my schedule when you need something. I expect you to do the same in return when I need something. Or have we been surrounding ourselves with things and people who are just constantly extracting and taking and telling us after everything we've done, after everything we are, that they still want more? It's not enough. I'm here to say they're not enough. We're enough and we're more than enough, but we're dealing with people and institutions who are bankrupt. They are the ones who are literally operating in not enoughness, which is why they have to constantly pull from you, pull from me, pull from us, because they don't have it. They don't have it. That's why I want to remind us of the power, the sovereignty, the divinity that we actually have, that we oftentimes unknowingly surrender. Think about all of the social or civil rights movements. It was the power of the people that said, you know what? If we decide to boycott, you don't have the business, you don't have the money, you don't have the success, you don't have what you think you have without me, without us. And this is a message I want to speak to someone. Sometimes things, institutions, peoples, higher ups, they learn the lessons they need to in our absence. Sometimes you got to walk away. Sometimes we've got to exit stage left for people to get what they really had. You know the Joni Mitchell song that says, "You don't know what you've got till it's gone." Pardon me, I'm out of practice vocally. But you get my point. Janet Jackson and Q-Tip remade that. No, you don't know what you got till it's gone. That's never been more of a truer statement. People don't know what they have until you're gone. They take for granted your presence, our presence, until we decide to take our power and our presence and leave. And then they get to sit in the emptiness that is them. And it creates a ricochet of revelation. Some people and things don't change. They don't change, or transform until we get out the way. Somebody needs to hear that today too. We've been trying to hold on for dear life to a thing, doing the same thing over and over on the hamster wheel, expecting different results, which is insanity. I'm here to tell you, nothing changes until we're willing to change everything. Nothing changes until we are willing to make a sharp left and say, you know what? I'm not going down the road the way that I've been. Something's got to give. And if they aren't willing to give, then it's got to be me. And sometimes we are forced into these situations where the walls feel like they're closing in, to where we have nothing to do but bust a move and break up, or bust a move and break out. Yes. And so I'm here to encourage someone who has been on the fence of, do I stay? Do I go? Do I stay? Do I go? Let me tell you something definitively. If you stay, it's going to continue being what it's been. And if you stay, it's going to get harder to stay. That's for someone specific. If you've had the question, do I stay or do I go? Whatever that area of life is for you, it's not getting easier because you're not making choices that are easier for you. That's the revelation and the insight. It's not going to get easier until you decide to start making decisions that mean life gets easier for you. Oftentimes, we are waiting for other people to do it for us. We are waiting for other people to make the decision, to give us the permission to make life easier for us. And I'm here to say, no one is coming to do that job for you. That job is yours. It's mine. It's ours. Another question. What's something you've been trying to earn that maybe shouldn't have to be earned? Is it love? Is it value? Is it validation? And have you ever stayed somewhere simply because you wanted to be chosen? Sometimes we're not even seeking for love in dating and relationships. We are looking for validation, disguised as something else. We call it love, but what it really is validation. We're looking for validation. And I'm talking and preaching to myself because I've been there. And in this context of social media algorithms, I am there. This is a really transparent conversation today. How long Have you stayed in a place knowing good and well it wasn't working for you? You did not feel comfortable. It did not align. Things weren't getting easier. The other persons involved weren't being, weren't compromising and willing to accommodate you, but you kept staying for the payoff. You kept accepting the uncomfortability for the perceived delusional payoff of something better. You outstayed the time frame or your welcome in hopes of being selected and chosen. And now I want to shift with this last question because I think it's important for us to feel the difference in the energy and the train of thought. What would change if you believed you were already enough? If you really believed you were already enough, what would change? What would change? If you literally heard within yourself, and if everything around you kept enforcing you're already enough, you don't need to be more, you don't need to do more, you don't need to kill yourself trying to produce more. What would change? I can tell you immediately, just considering the question immediately changes my energetic state. Thinking I don't have to do everything that I was led to believe I had to do makes me feel an immediate sense of relief on some level. It makes me feel like, well, damn, I can go and rest. I'm good. I'm safe. I'm supported. I'm connected with people who feel the same about themselves and about me. I'm not going to enroll myself in slaving to make a buck, to make a point, to make a statement, to hit a wave, to be seen, to go viral, whatever it is. I don't have to do that. I don't have to get on the World Wide Web and shake my ass. There are some artists out there, and this is me talking to my former self in my older life when I was a full-time music independent artist. I don't have to sell my soul to make an honest living on my art. Who and what I do is valuable as it is. I don't have to talk about shit that doesn't mean anything to me or that is damaging to the community. I don't have to do that because what I bring is already valuable enough. For me, in this moment, what would change or what is changing, what will likely change is I am not going to continue to overproduce at such a high quality or at an even higher volume of video content in long form here on this platform. It's making the decision to go counterculture. I am not going to do what the sheep and the masses are doing or are being led into the slaughter to do. I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to work smarter and not harder. So practically, this live space as an example, I may be in the live space indefinitely. I don't have to edit. I don't have to overly script. And I have the opportunity to have genuine connections real time with you, which is what I want. Community, not hoping for it after the fact, after I placed or uploaded a static video. That's what's changing for me in terms of my relationship with social media content. What is it going to be for you? What is changing for you? You've got to make that decision. And let me say this, and I've said this to my coaching clients, and I've heard it said to me from other coaches that I've had. Our decisions are our superpowers. Because once we decide, it sets the trajectory of our path of our life. One decision, sometimes we are one decision away from the blessing, from the breakthrough. But oftentimes, the hardest decisions come when we are being met with insurmountable obligations and unrealistic expectations, and things are crowding in on us. The nest is becoming too small for us. The thorns in our side are becoming too painful to stay where we've been doing what we've been doing. We're oftentimes being forced to make a drastic decision that changes everything for us. And oftentimes we're scared because of uncertainty. We're scared because we feel like we're going to miss out on something. Again, it's scarcity mindset. If I do this or if I don't do that, I'm going to miss out. I'm going to lose something. Here's the truth. We'll never lose ourselves. What is meant for us will never escape us because it's already in us. We're already manifesting it and living it from the inside out. And so the point of this conversation, to bring it home and to switch quickly into the spiritual messages, because it's important not to just hear things from a practical perspective, but from a spiritual one, is that healing and freedom isn't about becoming secure once. I've once heard it said, healing and elevation and freedom sometimes can be an ongoing journey where we reach one step and we go to the next, one layer, and then we go to the next. Scripturally, I've heard it said we go from glory to glory. And so in one avenue, you can do all the things and have breakthroughs in every area of your life. And then in one area, it's like, why the heck am I still struggling? Or feel like I'm struggling. I thought I got over this pattern. And it's noticing where insecurity quietly changes costumes. Because a lot of times, many of us are dealing with those hidden, secret patterns, addictions, behaviors, coping mechanisms, insecurities. And when we become aware of one, it's like, oh, I got to it. I did it. Only to sometimes discover that pattern is still showing up in other areas of life. So again, for you, it may not be dating and relationships today. It might be the job. It might be your business. It might be family, or it could be the person that you're romantically involved with right now. And maybe it's not leaving altogether. Maybe again, it's making a decision to not continue doing things in the same way. I'm not saying that I'm leaving YouTube or any other social media platform. I may take a break. You may need to take a break from whatever it is for you. And maybe it's, I need to consider how I'm moving forward and what shifts I'm going to make that best serve me. Maybe I'm not doing it in the way that I've been doing it. Because if I'm not getting a return on what I've already done, it's about doing an honest inventory and assessment on, is it worth it for me? See, we have been feeding into the question of, am I worthy? Am I enough? No, we need to flip that question on its head and ask, no, is this worth my time? Mhm. Are they worth my energy? Are they worth my commitment and my devotion? Are they proving themselves worthy to me? So instead of us auditioning and being in pick me energy, we need to make it reciprocal. What have you done for me lately? I'm a music buff. So these are just things that come to me, song titles. Janet Jackson, let's go back to the 80s. What have you done for me lately? Dun, 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 dun. Ooh, yeah. What have they done for you lately? That's the question I want to ask. That's the question you need to ask. What have they done for you lately? You got to be honest about that. We have to be honest about that. What have they honestly contributed to you in a way that matters, in a way that resonates with you and aligns with you deeply? Because if they're giving you chump change while taking away your peace of mind, discouraging you, and making you feel less than, is the trade-off worth it? Or is it not? And so, in terms of the spiritual message, we are being called to break down the illusion of the game that we often don't realize we're playing. The word is illusion. You've heard the title, The Game of Life. If life is a game, I want to submit to you that everything inside of life, including the worlds that we have created in this cyberspace, is a game within a game. It's almost like the movie Inception, where you had dreams within dreams. The dating game, the business game, the internet game, social media game. All of these are games within a game. And if a game is not truly real in reality, it's an illusion. And then what follows is the delusions in terms of what we think it means. The illusion is what we think we see, but the delusion is the result or the meaning that comes with what we are seeing. So the illusion is, I'm seeing what I imagine to be a costume. It looks like a costume in the distance. The delusion is to say, if I put on this costume, I'm all of a sudden a different person. How does that practically apply to dating and relationships? If I give this person what they are wanting, which I perceive is sexual access, sexual intimacy, then that's the illusion. The illusion is love. The illusion is sexual access disguised as love. The delusion is to say, I'm going to get commitment if I do this, because that's going to give me that. In a business space, the illusion is to say, I see all of these other people hustling. Every day I'm hustling. Every day yeah, that's the illusion. I got to be a hustler because that's what I think I see other people doing and other people being. And that says, the delusion says, okay, if I am that, then that means I'm going to make quick money. That means I'm going to have major clientele if I'm working like a hamster around the clock. Social media space here on the YouTube platform. If I push out 347 pieces of content in one day, and amass to 8,000 watch hours somehow, as if half of that wasn't difficult enough, then I'll break free. I'll break through. I'll go viral. I'll have the engagement I want. I'll have the subscribers I want. I can gather clientele for my business. Then I'll be seen on the stages of my peers in my industry. That's the delusion. And I'm not saying not to be delusional about your vision for life. What I am saying is buying into someone else's illusions and attaching delusion to that. How to get there. What someone is telling you, you got to do, and it doesn't align with you. But then trying to buy into it anyway for the hope of whatever their delusional outcome is that they're trying to sell you on. We are being called from a spiritual perspective to get out of this physical 3D realm and all of the BS that's constantly being thrown at us to decipher what is spiritual truth, what is metaphysical truth, what is it? Because if we allow ourselves to be subject to what the algorithm is saying we've got to do, we've bought into the illusion. We've bought into the game actually being real. And we're being called to see through the illusion and to not form delusions based off of what we think we are seeing, and to come back to a space and a place of spiritual truth and actual reality. Furthermore, we are being called not to win at all costs. What does winning at all costs mean? Driving ourselves into the ground, driving our health into the ground. I can wholeheartedly speak to this because I've done it. Before I stepped into the coaching space, I was in a plethora of other industries. And the last one prior to going into coaching, I found myself in the emergency room trying to be the company MVP, doing the boss's job and the other staff members' jobs. And it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. Trying to keep up and make somebody else happy. And most of the time, these people are miserable. It doesn't matter what you do because the misery lives within them. There's no amount of things that you can do, say, if you're dealing with narcissistic people in any capacity or miserable people in any capacity. There is no amount of overfunctioning and perfection that you could exhibit that will ever satisfy them. Somebody needs to know that as well. Let me go ahead and free your mind. I don't care what you do, baby. You never gonna satisfy them. They're always going to find a reason to find fault. They're always going to find a reason to tell you what you did was not enough, or to say, okay, yeah, but can you do more? Can you do this? And oftentimes it's without a thank you. It's without acknowledging they wouldn't be where they are without you. So what exactly are we winning? We're being called to step back and let go of, I got to do what I got to do to make it. No, you don't. Not if it means costing your well-being. Not if it means sacrificing yourself in order for somebody else to step on top of you to make it. No, you don't. We are being called spiritually to let go of that egoic way of being, because oftentimes it is killing us, it's killing our relationships, it's breaking our spirit when you feel you have to do cutthroat things just to survive, just to make it up one more notch. We're being called to step outside of that energy. And if we're being called to step outside of something, what are we being called into? We're being called into nurture. We're being called to nurture ourselves. So before you wake up and get on the internet, and this is me preaching to myself, and start doom scrolling and consuming and swiping and comparing, nurture who we are and what we have been blessed with gratitude, with attention, and with care. Starting with our mind, starting with our physical bodies. What does that mean on a daily basis? Create a regiment of nurture for your insides. Is it meditation music in the morning? Is it a meditation, a guided meditation before you go to bed? Is it getting on an herbal protocol? Is it eating certain types of meals that are healthier or healthy? Does it mean putting down the junk food? Does it mean moving your body, doing yoga, going dancing, getting out in the sun, getting fresh air, watering your plants for those of us who have them, cleaning your house, cooking food that nourishes the soul, not just the palate? Does it mean listening to music that inspires you, that inspires your creativity? Does it mean decorating your home so that when you wake up, you have something to look at that excites your nervous system or that brings calm to your nervous system? Speaking of which, does it mean EFT tapping or doing deep breathing or engaging in intentional positive self-talk? How can you nurture yourself? Does it mean juicing and consuming things that are going to feed you and nurture you on a cellular level? Does it mean resting? Resting. Some of y'all, some of us need to rest because we are exhausted. Our energy and anxiety is through the roof. We are not only running on fumes, we are running on adrenaline, on cortisol. Again, I'm preaching to myself. I'm calling myself to the carpet today because the message to you is the message to me. Some of us need to rest. And that can be metaphysical rest. Taking a step back, we're not doing all the extra stuff today. Sometimes it means it's okay to do the bare minimum. I'm going to sit on my couch and Netflix and chill. I'm going to vacate the premises in my mind that tell me I need to be on a mental hamster wheel from sunup to sundown, thinking, concocting, tweaking, planning, all of that up here. Some of us can't even go to sleep at night because we can't turn our brains off. That is not nurture. That is debilitation. And we're being called out of that. Winning at all costs. That energy will push you into the ground. We're being called to nurture ourselves. while we are being and doing the things we feel called to. And that brings up the next point, alignment. What are you feeling called to? Because a lot of times we can get stuck in rigidity, in rules, in the system of it all. I'm supposed to do this, so I'm locked in. I am here to tell you and to encourage you, it is okay to call in, take a day off. It is okay to change your mind. It is okay to say, I cannot do this today. It is okay to say, I need a rain check and let's reschedule. When my energy is better, when I've got more rest, when I have the clarity that I need, it is okay to say no. Not right now. I can't. It is okay to not answer the phone. It's okay to turn your phone off. They will be okay. They will be okay. Allow them to figure it out. Because, see, that's the other issue. Having a God complex. We feel like the world is going to stop. Everything is going to come crashing down if we're not there glued to the phone, if we're not there to fix it. No. Nurturing ourselves says, I am going to do what I feel is best for me, what is aligned with my spirit and my soul and my body and my well-being. And I'm going to allow somebody else to figure out what it is for them. Because, see, when we get out the way, we stop being everybody else's God. We allow other people the opportunity to exercise their divinity and their power and their thinking and critical thinking skills. Some people can't do what they need to do for themselves because we're too busy doing it for them. I'm here to encourage somebody today, and welcome in if you're joining. Thank you for being here. Let these folks figure out their own life, their own departments, their own business, their own schedule, their own decisions, and do what aligns with you, with whom you align with, in the ways that align with you. And it could be at one point, something or someone did align with you. And it's okay because seasons change when it no longer does. To say, you know what? I feel a shift. And this ain't a conversation you have to have with them, but it's okay to say, I feel a shift, to have this internal conversation with yourself and say, this is not what it used to be. This is not what I am continuing to sign up for. I'm going to remove myself. And I don't have to necessarily give an explanation about it either. The answer is simply, I'm unable to. I've got some other stuff happening. And then going where the energy, the opportunity, the harmony, the community, where does that align? Who does it align with? Making aligned decisions. Is it the right time? Is there a better time? Is it the right person? Is there a better person? Let me tell you, there is always something and someone out there better than what you have been told to believe is the end all be all. There's a better living space. There's a better country. There's a better partner. There's a better business model. There's a better company. There's a better employer. There's better family dynamics, and it ain't always blood. Sometimes it's spiritual. The chosen family. Because when you've been fed the propaganda that this is all there is and you got to acquiesce and submit to the pressure and the demands that are unrealistic, driving your wellness and health and value into the ground, that's when you got to start questioning stuff. Does it align with you now? Consciously, now that we're being conscious about who we're actually dealing with and what we are being asked to do holistically, does it align? Do I feel well and comfortable and at peace with this, or don't I? And then making the decision to go where and with whom better suits you and aligns with your path at this time. And then lastly, even with the alignment, because it's very easy to teeter back off into those extreme behaviors and over functioning and overdoing to prove our worth, because how we do one thing is how we do everything. Hence why I'm having this conversation today. You could think you got over it at one point in one area, and then the default setting of overperforming and auditioning and being in pick me energy and proving yourself and constantly doing everything to show your value tries to creep back up. Even when you make a decision to do something that is more aligned, the task that we are being given spiritually is to make sure that we remain balanced even in that. So for instance, to make it practical, as an example, I stated earlier, I will likely be delving into and exploring the live YouTube space indefinitely at this point. I've got a couple of more videos, produced videos in my docket, but I'm going to be seeing what the experience and reality is here in this live space to reduce my workload. Because that feels more aligned for me. I get rid of all the editing. I get rid of all of everything that comes with highly produced videos, the polish, all of that. The balancing act is saying, okay, I'm now not going to get over here in the live space and become another hamster on another wheel and start going live every day, twice a day, for hours a day at a time. It's about being able to adequately balance what it is that we hold in our possession, not going back to the extreme, being mindful of the energy we carry and the capacity that we have to do X, Y, and Z based on our being first. Based on our being first. And I know at times it's easier said than done, because it's like, oh, let me just push through. And sometimes a good push through is necessary, but all the time, again, the balancing act. And sometimes it's helpful to create a schedule so that we can ensure I'm balancing and I'm not impulsively moving and trying to keep up with something that does not align with me. So there's breaking down illusions and seeing the truth, spiritual truth, letting go of the ideology that we have to win at all costs. That cost usually being our own demise. Nurturing ourselves on every level. And I'm looking at my notes. And then with nurture comes aligned decisions, aligned opportunities, choosing aligned people to interact with, and then balancing those aligned situations so that we're not teetering back into the old pick-me behaviors where we're auditioning for validation, for visibility, for success, etc. So I hope that this conversation has served you. And if it has, I'm going to ask that you give a thumbs up, like this video. If you're still here watching this with me, I want to give you an extra shout out. Thank you for being present. Let me know in the comments where this video hits home for you. Share the video if you know that this can reach somebody else. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you're wanting to do deeper work as it pertains to your relationship and dating landscape, I have a course titled Break the Pattern of Wrong Men. I have a full-fledged program where you get to work with me for an entire year called Rewire for Love, where you're able to come out of negative relationship patterns and create the healthy love and partnership that you've envisioned so you can get it out of your head and actually start experiencing it in reality. I also have a free guide that helps you understand the hidden patterns that are driving your attraction that have led us into these pick me situations to begin with. The links for all of those will be in the description box beneath this video. Get plugged in. Get plugged in. All right. I will see you in the next video, the next live that I do, which will likely be, I'm thinking next Thursdays. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be at the same time or on the same day. I may put something in the community post to see what day most people are available, because if possible, I would love to catch everybody in real time so that I can actually answer questions and we can talk. We can have an actual conversation where it's, a give and take. All right. Thank you again for being here with me. I send so much love to you, so much illumination to you, so much empowerment to you. And God bless. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.